Can we get mad at God? Round 2. Can't do it off the laptop. Lesson learned. So can we get mad at God? Let's talk about it. Jesus, coffee. Round 2. Sorry, guys. Laptop just gets jumpy and jittery. I tried using a webcam. Yeah, it's just more to be done there. We'll stay with, we'll stay with old reliable on my phone. So can we get mad at God? Yes, we can get mad at God. Guys, ultimately getting mad at God, it happens. And yesterday we started with why God? Why this? Which typically where getting mad at God starts. Because we start to question what God's done. We start to question something that God's done. So we, why God? Why this? And guys, to make it personal, I've gotten early in my walk, I got frustrated with God, pulled my cross off. I was like, grr. But it's about how we respond when we're mad at God. What do we do in that? What do we do with that anger? I blamed God for my naivety. I thought, well, God, I'm starting to walk with you. Once I surrender you, you're supposed to fix everything. Well, no, that's not the way that works. But I thought it was because I was naive. You're supposed to take that away. I'm not supposed to want to chase other women. No, it's not the way that works. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work with him. He doesn't just go, boop, you're fixed. No, that's not the way that happens. You don't just get dunked under the water and come up and you're brand new in terms of, you're no longer that dead guy. You're no longer that sinner, but it takes work. So it's about our response. People will often blame God when things they've lived for come up short. Hey, I was supposed to be a professional bowler. What happened with that, God? How come I'm not? What's up with that? No. It's not the way. Or you turn around and go into, turn around and start a business because this is what God put on my heart and this is what I'm supposed to do, and the business fails. Proverbs 19:3 tells us, when a man's folly brings his way to ruin, his heart rages against the Lord. Because God puts callings on our heart, but he doesn't guide every step of the way. He depends on, we have to do some work along the way. We don't just go, okay, God, it's yours. Make me a millionaire. No, that's not the way that works, guys. So if we screw up and you're like, this is what God told me to do, it should have been successful. No, you have to put in the work too. So we have free will, guys. And guess what? When we want to grab that wheel, we end up in a ditch. It takes trust in God. That is the response right there. That's the response he's looking for. It's trusting him. When you're mad, you know what? God, why? Why this? I don't understand this. But thank you. Thank you that I get to experience this. When hardships seem overwhelming, God's often the scapegoat. He's got broad shoulders. He can take it. He's got big shoulders. Job was in unrelenting pain. His kids, all of his houses, his cattle, everything destroyed. And what was his wife's reaction? Not even Job's reaction. What was his wife's reaction? In verse 9, in chapter 2, Job 2, verse 9, Job's wife says, do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die. I love, Job's reaction. Job's reaction in verse 10 was, are we supposed to accept the good and not the adversity? His reaction was, yes, we had all of that stuff. And some adversity came. I'm not going to curse God for the adversity. He gives us both. And I love his response. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be in the name of the Lord. Even in the hard, he was still blessing the Lord. He was still praising his name. You know, when God blesses someone that we wish he would curse, go get them, God, they're evil, go get them. But yet God blesses them. We can tend to get angry when we're watching success come to somebody who deserves to be cursed and wiped out. You're like, why? Why is that happening? You know, God showed mercy to Nineveh, who didn't deserve it. And how did Jonah react to that? You know, go read the book of Jonah if you're not familiar with the story. But Jonah was not happy that God showed mercy to Nineveh. It displeased him exceedingly, and he was angry with God. Jonah 4:1. So Jonah was angry with God that he was showing mercy instead of wiping him out. You know, Psalm 35, verses 17 and 18. Actually, let me go into it, because it's a good psalm. It really is a good psalm, and it talks about, you know, you can see, you know, and in this psalm, David's friends are actually becoming his foes. His friends are turning on him. So imagine if that was happening to you. What would your response be? And you know, when I did my soaps through this, I actually highlighted this verse. So it's, Lord, how long will you look on? Rescue me from their destructions, my precious life from the lions. I will give you thanks in the great assembly. I will praise you among many people. Hear the response to that? He's saying, look, Lord, rescue me from this. But even if you don't, I'm going to praise your name. It's all about our response. Guys, that's really the secret of anything, of any hardship, of anything that is good. It's ultimately all about our response to the Lord. We don't always understand his timing. We don't always understand what he's doing. We don't understand why he's doing it. We're not going to understand it, guys. We have very, 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 very finite minds. His mind is infinite. His thoughts are infinite. His thoughts are far above our thoughts. His ways are far above our ways. We're never going to understand everything God's doing. We don't understand his timing. Sometimes his timing seems really, really slow. You're like, hey, Lord, but sometimes his timing is too quick. You're like, hold up, wait a minute. I wasn't expecting it that quick. We don't always understand his timing. His timing's not ours. But what's our response? I don't understand, Lord, but thank you. Thank you, regardless of what's coming at you. Thank you. It's all about our response. So yes, you can get mad at God. Ultimately, to answer that question, can you get mad at God? Yeah, I've gotten mad at God. But it's about our response. Don't stay mad at God. Get in the Word and understand him. Ask him why. Why is this happening? What do you want me to learn from this? What do you want me to learn from this, Lord? And I'm going to wrap with Psalm 42, which is another good psalm, really good psalm. So in Psalm 42, oh, I love Psalm 40, where Jesus is on the cross. So in this, Jesus is being forsaken in here. So he's not mad at God, but he's being forsaken. Verses 6 and 7. Oh my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore I will remember you from the land of Jordan, and from the heights of Hermon, and from the hill Mizar. Deep calls unto deep at the noise of your waterfalls, which is our sin and iniquity. All your waves and billows have gone over me. The Lord will command his loving kindness in the daytime, and in the night his song shall be with me, a prayer to the God of my life. So in there, you can hear that his soul is downcast. Oh, my soul, why? Why are you so downcast? Many times David spoke to his soul about why his soul was downcast. Downcast because he's angry with the Lord, because he feels like the Lord forgot him and left him alone. He's never leaving you alone, guys. Never leaves us, never forsakes us. So it's okay to be angry with God for a moment. Good morning, Janice. It's okay to be angry with God for a moment, but it ultimately, God's got big shoulders. He can take your anger. He can. But don't let it sit there. Don't let it stay as anger. Take it to him, yell at him, do whatever you got to do, but then let it go and ask him to help you. Good morning, my amazing sister. So, sorry about the laptop debacle and that terrible live stream. We won't do it off the laptop anymore. So you guys have a fantastic day. We'll be back tomorrow. I know he loves you. I know I love you. And we'll be back tomorrow with whatever Dad wants to talk about. I think I got an idea, and I think it's probably going to be learning to understand him. So I love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with whatever Dad wants to talk about.